first thing that I want to do when I get a new robot is to make it move. There's just something that's so fun about watching a new robot move for the first time. If I'd known for sure that you'd put your robot together 100% correctly, then I probably would have had your first program involve movement rather than images and speech. But unfortunately, I have no way of checking your robot, so we started out with programs that just use the built-in functionality of your EV3 brick. But now that you've got some programming experience, it's time to move on to movement. The last step of building any of the designs that I've recommended was to use wires to connect the motors on your robot up to motor ports B and C. Just take a moment to look over your robot and make sure that you follow the directions and plug the wires into motors B and C as shown in your instructions. So I have the EV3 software started up. This is the educational edition. I'm going to add a new project by clicking on that plus sign. And let me do a save project as, and I'm going to save it as JSK Robot Dancing. So that's my project. And this first program, let me double click on the word program there, and I'm going to change the name of my program to First Dance. So we know we want to make our robot move, and if you look at these blocks at all down here, you can see there's several that look like they may have to do with movement. There's medium motor, large motor, move steering, move tank. For most of the time, if you have a wheeled robot like the examples that I've suggested you build, you're going to use this move steering block. So let's grab the move steering block and drag it up here. And the move steering block defaults to be set to on for rotation. So that's what this thing says right now. What we're going to do is we're going to tell it to go forward for 1.5 rotations, and that's rotations of the wheel. So I clicked on, I don't know if you saw, I clicked on right here, and I'm going to make it go for 1.5 rotations of the wheel. And then let's grab another move steering block. And this one, so here I moved forward for 1.5 rotations. Now, instead of being on for rotations, I'm going to be on for seconds. So that's a fixed amount of time. And I want to go backwards. And right now, if I look at this, this is my power level. My power right now is set to positive 50. I'm actually going to set it to negative 50. And if you look, as I slide that, watch this steering arrow right here. I'm in the positive zone, I'm going forwards, now I'm going backwards. So I'm going to set it to maybe negative 68. There you go. We're going to go backwards pretty fast. Okay? And this is the number of seconds that I want to drive for, and let's go for 0.75 seconds, so almost a whole second. All right, let me plug in my robot, and then we'll download. All right, so I've downloaded the program. One thing I never actually told you was which way was forward, so let's just run it and see if we can figure it out. Great. Okay, you've got to admit that was pretty cool. Let's try making our program just a little bit more complicated. Okay, so let's add a new program to our robot dancing project. So I clicked on the plus and I'm going to do new program. And I'm going to double click on the word program, and let's call this program spin around. And let's see, let's add a move steering block. And the first thing I want to do is I want to spin to the right for, let's say, 1.5 seconds at top speed. So let's change not on for rotations, but on for seconds. And I said I want to spin to the right, so I'm actually going to edit the steering drop down. So let's make it go as sharp to the right as it can. And I want the power to be top speed. So right now the power is set to 50, but I'm going to zoom that all the way up. And I think I said I wanted to do it for 1.5 seconds. Let's do it for 1.5 seconds. Okay. And then the next thing I want to do is let's spin left for 3/4 of a rotation. So I'm going to grab another move steering. And there's actually two ways I can do this. I can say that I want to do it for on for rotations. I want to spin to the left. Maybe I don't want to spin to the left quite as dramatically. Maybe I just kind of want to turn left rather than spinning all the way to the left. I'll leave the power at 50%. That seems reasonable. And I'm in on for rotations, so I could say 0.75 here. That would be fine. But the other thing that I can do is I can switch to on for degrees. And if I switch to on for degrees, then we're talking, let's see, I guess that's 270 degrees to go round 3/4 of the way, right? So let's hook up my robot and we'll download this. Okay, so let me find my robot dance project and I'll go to my spin around program and let's see what happens. Pretty cool.